The British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon, I'm Clara Londo here with your 3:30 news update. Robert Prevost has been elected as the 267th bishop. He will be the first pope from America in the history of the Catholic Church. His first words as Pope Francis' successor is, "Peace be with you." Prevost is a Chicago-born missionary who is also a Peruvian citizen. Prevost lived for years in Peru. He joined the Order of St. Augustine in 1977 and has now taken the name Leo XIV. Pope Leo XIV's choice of name is a signal of commitment to social justice. With the big news from the Vatican City today, our reporter Braden Goodman has more on the story.
White smoke billowed from the Sistine Chapel chimney today, signaling the successful election of a new Supreme Pontiff. This marks the conclusion of a historic conclave as bells rang out across St. Peter's Square, drawing cheers from thousands of faithful pilgrims. The newly elected pope, whose identity will be formally announced shortly, has accepted his role, stepping into one of the most influential spiritual positions in the world. The traditional Latin announcement, Habemus Papam, "We have a pope," is expected imminently from the central balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. Braden Goodman, BCIT News.
Braden is with us on the line right now. So, Braden, what was the initial reaction of the public been since the announcement?
Thanks for having me on, Clara. Well, the initial reaction is overall public sentiment has been mostly positive. Numerous leaders across the globe have already offered up their congratulations. And what bodes well for the international community during this current political climate is that the new Supreme Pontiff has been on record criticizing President Trump and J.D. Vance.
Okay, and the history was made as Pope Leo XIV became the first North American pope. Why was this selection a surprise to everyone?
Well, he certainly was a surprise choice. Generally speaking, America is passed over for the Supreme Pontiff office because of the sheer influence in other areas that America has on the world stage. However, I know you mentioned his lineage as well, but he's also French, Italian, and of Spanish descent. And an Italian newspaper, La Repubblica, is calling him the least American. But certainly, it was a surprise pick over the Italian favorite, Pietro Parolin.
Thank you, Braden.
My pleasure, Clara.
On another note, U.S. President Donald Trump says it's an honor to have an American pope.
To have the Pope from the United States of America, that's a great honor. That's a great honor.
In local news, concerns over the safety of future events are in the minds of the local community after the Lapu-Lapu incident last April. Our reporter Kai Garcia spoke with the Burnaby City Councilor on what changes could be implemented.
The Pinoy Festival is a celebration of Filipino culture and will happen in Swangard Stadium next month. Burnaby City Councilor Maita Santiago speaks on the event and what the Burnaby RCMP said about security and safety measures.
That following their event last year, that there were already measures discussed and put in place with regards to safety and security that were going to be above and beyond what's normally required.
The Burnaby RCMP assured everyone on the safety of the event and want people to come out, participate, and celebrate. The festival will take place on June 14 to 15. Kai Garcia, BCIT News.
Following the Lapu-Lapu incident, BC Premier David Eby has restated his support for involuntary care during an announcement of 10 new involuntary care beds in Surrey. Patrick McConnell has more on the controversial approach.
The Mental Health Act already allows involuntary care in BC, but critics argue it has not proven effective, and doubling down is misguided. Shirley Chan of Pathways Mental Illness Society is an advocate for involuntary care, saying it has been effective for her daughter.
I felt it saved her life. Involuntary care has saved the lives of many of the family members we work with at Pathways who do not know they're sick because that is one of the symptoms.
Chan says she does not believe the system in Vancouver is being abused. Patients can appeal for release, are advised of their rights, and cannot be held long term. Patrick McConnell, BCIT News.
Moving on to housing, an affordable housing advocate says he will keep fighting the city of Vancouver and Airbnb about the short-term rental operator. Roanna Razel filed 2 requests in 2019 but then refused by the city while Airbnb opposed the release. Razel says he understands the data is likely out of date but he's continuing the pursuit. He also said that the dispute has evolved to a battle for public transparency. Richmond's monthly reuse and repair cafes have repaired over 837 items since its conception in 2023. Our reporter Gabrielle Rui tells us more about how this incredible feat was achieved.
Once a month, Richmond residents visit the East Richmond Community Hall to have their cherished items repaired, like bicycles, small appliances, and clothes. The demand for repairs has increased since 2023, and now, numerous repair hobbyists are dedicating their time to helping others. Coordinator Christy Houston elaborates.
We have a group of ladies from the Textile Arts Guild of Richmond who are some of our sewing experts. We have a gentleman, Brian, who works with Beth, Kelvin, who does bike repair.
The repair hobbyists are passionate about their work, and they are sure to keep repairing more in the months to come. Gabrielle Rui, BCIT News.
Gabrielle is with us in studio right now. So, Gabrielle, how does the repair process work when someone brings in an item?
So they have an online booking system, so you can make an appointment, and when you go through the process of booking, they ask you a few questions like the type of item you've had, how long you've had it, and what's the issue with the item. And part of that allows them, in advance of the event, to vet the items and get a little bit more information about the issue. They'll be seeing the types of tools they might need in order to fix it. And then once you arrive at the event, they'll have a check-in table where they'll look over your item and see who's available to fix it.
So what are some common things that the repair hobbyists are given to fix?
They do a lot of clothing repairs, so they see a lot of holes, a lot of ripped seams, a lot of issues with zippers. They also have small appliance repairs, so they can see if something's become disconnected or something's become broken. They also see a lot of bike issues like flat tires, issues with brakes, and issues with gears.
Thank you, Gabby. A Vancouver nonprofit is helping young women see themselves as future business leaders. SheBiz is giving the next generation the confidence and the skills to lead. Our reporter Jenny Song tells us more about it.
The Vancouver nonprofit empowers women by giving them the tools, mentorship, and mindset to lead. SheBiz is helping future entrepreneurs think bigger and start earlier in fields where women are still underrepresented. Kanwal Trahan, the founder of SheBiz, tells us her thoughts.
Just helping women entrepreneurs to be better CEOs of their companies, which really means to work on their businesses, not in their businesses.
Shifting mindsets early so that girls see themselves as future CEOs, not just employees. SheBiz is making sure the next generation knows they belong at the table. Jenny Sung for BCIT News.
Veterans, members of the armed force, and political leaders all gather at an event. They are commemorating the 80th anniversary of the end of the Second World War in Europe. Canadians and Allied soldiers accepted the surrender of the German forces in the Netherlands. Dutch ambassador to Canada, Margriet Vono, says the Netherlands will always remember the sacrifice of Canadians.
Dutch families can be seen walking among the graves, reading the names on the carved maple leaves. Parents, like my parents, told me, quietly telling their children, "These men, they died to free your country. Do not forget what they did. You are free because of them."
BC Ministry of Education and Childcare says the First Baptist Church of Vancouver has received fundings to create new childcare spaces. The ministry says spaces for children younger than 36 months up to school age will be made available. The funding is being allocated through Childcare BC. The ministry says the space is a part of restoration and seismic upgrade of the church. Going to politics, experts are saying that the preliminary trade agreement between the US and the UK could foreshadow Trump's administration with Canada. In weather, it is 13 degrees with an increased cloudiness this evening and a low of 9. I'm Clara Lonto with your 3:30 news, and you're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Yeah, she did
Stay
really
tuned
well.
for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikki-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikki-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Good afternoon. I'm Emma Bolsner, and here are your sports headlines for 3:45. Jurors in the sexual assault case of 5 hockey players have been told they can't use the allegations made in a 2022 lawsuit against Hockey Canada and 8 unnamed players as proof of any wrongdoing in the criminal trial. All players have pleaded not guilty to the sexual assault allegation from 2018. The lawsuit involves the same complainant who alleges she was sexually assaulted by 8 members of the World Junior team. It was settled in early 2022, but then reopened in 2024 by Hockey Canada and Ontario Police. Criminal charges were laid against Michael McLeod, Carter Hart, Alex Formanton, Dylan Dube, and Callan Foote. And the Edmonton Oilers will play Game 2 tonight against the Las Vegas Golden Knights. On Tuesday, they beat the Knights 4-2. Right-winger Corey Perry had more to say after the game.
I think our start was a little hectic and, a 4-minute penalty early and getting down by 2, but we stuck with our game plan and found a way. And, we came here to win hockey games, and we found a way tonight.
Sidney Crosby and Nathan McKinnon are set to play Team Canada at the Ice Hockey World Championships tomorrow after 10 years. The two are friends and neighbors in Halifax and were also on the same team at the 2015 Olympics when they won gold. The championship takes place in Sweden and Denmark. And Toronto Scepters forward Julia Gosling is still on a high after scoring twice at last night's PWHL game, winning 3-2 against Minnesota Frost.
Yeah, it was really exciting, and it's my first 5-on-5 goal, but definitely just the way we were playing and the way our lines were changing, I think it just put me in a great spot to get that opportunity and then just use my shot. So it was just super fun to get that done at home.
The Scepters play again tomorrow against Minnesota at 7. Tonight, the Montreal Victoire enter the playoffs against the Ottawa Charge. And Joel Quenneville will be the head coach for the Anaheim Ducks. This is his first coaching job since leaving the Florida Panthers due to the way he addressed a sexual assault scandal when he worked for the Chicago Blackhawks. In a press conference today, he addressed the scandal and what he hopes to bring to the team.
I'm humbled. I'm excited to be here today. I fully understand and accept that those who question my return to the league. We'll be a team this community can be proud of, both on and off the ice. This is my promise.
And in football, former CFL coach Paul LaPolice has been appointed as head coach of the men's national flag football team. LaPolice has been coaching for over 20 years and worked as a football analyst for TSN. Rachel Lazard has also been appointed as head coach for Canada's senior women's squad. She has been a player and coach for the national women's program for almost 30 years. In baseball, the Pittsburgh Pirates have fired manager Derek Shelton after the team fell to last place in NL Central. Bench coach Don Kelly has been promoted as the new manager. The Pirates had a 7-game losing streak and have not made it into the playoffs since 2015. And in local basketball, the Vancouver Bandits start their preseason tonight against the Sikh Warriors. This comes after signing Surrey local Majok Gum to their standard player contract. This is Gum's first season in professional basketball. Meanwhile, in the NBA, Tyrese Halliburton gets a warning after a dance celebration in Game 2 of the Pacers' win on Tuesday. Halliburton will not receive a fine. And there's been an announcement in women's basketball. Sue Bird, 5-time Olympic gold medalist and 13-time WNBA All-Star, will now be the managing director of the women's national team. Bird will manage tournaments, including the 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup and the 2028 Olympic Games in LA. And in Rome, Italian tennis star Jannik Sinner is returning to the Italian Open this week after a 3-month-long doping ban. He will play his first match on Saturday against Mariano Navone. And those are your sports headlines for 3:45. I hope you all have a wonderful afternoon. I'm Emma Bolsner for BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikki-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikki-King.